Before James Jebbia founded streetwear retailer Supreme, he opened a shop called Union with his partner Mary Ann Fusco. But with so many women in streetwear, the female trailblazers don't get the same spotlight as their male counterparts. Today, we're here to fix that. Streetwear is the biggest it has ever been, and while it appears to be dominated by men, brilliant women sustain the movement at every level. From designers to creative directors, photographers to stylists, bloggers to muses and beyond, it's time to put some respect on their names. Today, we dive deep into the integral role women have played in the success and growth of streetwear. And we search for solutions on how to have more ownership in this space. This is Complex Conversations, Women in Streetwear, with your hosts, Miss Info and Karizza Sanchez.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming. I love that we have a full house. If you watch that video, it makes it sound like we're gonna solve all of the problems today with this panel, which, you know, I mean,
maybe we will.
Maybe, but this is something that's deeply important to both of us. With no further ado, though, we should definitely make sure that we use all of our time. Let's bring out our panelists. First off, Melody Ehsani of Melody Ehsani.
Hi, guys. Oh, just kidding.
All right, I'm gonna get this together. Next up, Kristen Noel Crawley of KNC. Cocktail in hand. Next up, please give it up for Beth Gibbs of Beffy and Union.
We have too much room.
Right? Lanie Alabanza-Barcena of Hell's Bells. And my girl, Teyana Taylor. Okay. Keep that same energy. Welcome, ladies. Please appreciate this panel right here. Give it up for them.
Everybody vote.
And vote.
Oh, for real.
One thing I love is that in the intro, they're like, we're gonna give these ladies the respect they deserve. Finally, all of y'all have already been respecting these women since the very, very beginning. Am I right? Please, I just wanna make sure that we recognize that. One thing that Karizza mentioned is that this is like a long time coming, but I kind of want to see from you guys some perspective on how different things are in 2018 versus when, let's say, Lanie, can you just talk about the difference between now and like when you started your line, Hell's Bells?
It's completely different. I mean, when I first started the brand, there was no social media. Everything was very grassroots. So literally everything was done either via email or me actually calling people, hitting up friends and just spreading the word. And from there, it kind of just trickled on. Everything was just mainly based on relationships. So it wasn't as worldwide.
How did that work for someone like you too, Melody? Like you've had your brand for years, obviously, and you just opened a store in New York.
Well, when I started, there was social media, so everybody was on MySpace. So I definitely utilized MySpace a lot, but it was different in terms of the back end of things. Like when I started and I was trying to figure out how to make stuff, I didn't know how to make anything, and there wasn't like as much access to things online. Like right now, you can go on Alibaba and get like whatever you want made.
I mean, I guess I'm curious too, not from a business standpoint, but when you, especially you, Lanie, when you started the brand, there weren't a lot of women's streetwear brands, right?
There wasn't.
So how was that like navigating the space with Supreme, with Stussy, with Huff, with, you know, all these other brands that were obviously founded by men?
I mean, I started the brand because I didn't feel a connection to any of the other brands that were out there. I loved Stussy, but then also the Stussy women's line at the time was very like overly feminine for me. So I always found myself shopping the men's sections, or I'd wear my husband's tees. And so I just knew that there had to be a void filled in the market for the girls that were more like me, that were still sexy, but you know, we still had like some edge and like a tomboy feel to us, and so that's why I started Hell's Bells.
I think also it was kind of unfair because back then it was like our tomboy swag was considered she's gay, you know, and I think now it's chic, it's sexy, it's new, it's in the now, and it's like, no, I've been doing that.
So do you think that's interesting, because do you think that the defining characteristic of streetwear for women is androgyny?
Not necessarily. I think it's just being given options. I've been in streetwear for years. I've been very behind the scenes. I brought my husband, Chris Gibbs, owner of Union, into the streetwear game. I worked for James Jebbia for a long time. And you know, I've always been a tomboy, but sometimes I like to be girly too. I just didn't necessarily want to wear the pink and purple bubblegum shoe. It just didn't represent me or who I was. So I would wear boys' clothes because I like the colorways. I'd much rather wear like an army green and orange or, you know, give me something else.
It's not just in streetwear though. Like if you look at the difference between little boys' clothes and little girls' clothes, the girls' clothes is always like super delicate and like not meant to be played in. It's frilly, whereas the little boys' clothes have like, you know, it's like thicker material, it's more durable, it's like more practical
swaggy.
and tactical, and girls are meant to just fucking prance around when, you know. So I think it's a much deeper issue than just streetwear. I think it starts
with the baby showers.
with
I ain't even gonna hold you up.
yeah.
Let's say like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, what were you wearing before there were more options? Like what did you wear?
Vape, ice cream.
I used to wear Fat Farm. That's how far back.
Baby
Cross
But even
colors.
those, they would like smash your boobs, the baby fat tees.
And they were all pink, the all pink.
How about this though? How about the women's sweatpants don't give you no hips?
No
it's
hips.
so weird right
It's so
here.
true.
I'm like, shouldn't it be the opposite way around?
And they would smash your bum like
Yeah.
if you
Oh,
tried
yeah,
to
you
get
have a flat-
any
I mean, I already have
urban
that, but-
brand, which I feel like
stayed
streetwear
away.
has kind of evolved from that. But especially, rocker wear, baby fat, they would try and wear, you know, make jeans for women. And it was always like, let's smash the booties. Like there was no curves, there was no shape.
I think it's interesting because it also, like, who were your heroes who were your style heroes? There's so many people. Vashti.
She's like the GOAT.
Okay.
What was it about her that,
She
or like
was
her
just
style?
like, I mean, it was her and Pharrell. They were just like the it couple, and she was mysterious. You know, there wasn't social media, there wasn't anything. You just saw this like beautiful girl in Bape and Jordans, and it was just like, she's just like for me, she's like the one.
Like growing up with hip hop, I mean TLC,
Yeah.
Lauryn Hill, like all of them were
Totally Lauryn
dressing that
Hill.
way. All of
Yes,
them. It was
for
always.
sure.
I mean, they created that blueprint.
They totally did.
And then maybe it got revived.
Well,
but
it was all from music.
It was all from
I think
music.
the style
Yeah, of course.
icons were the
In the
music.
90s. And
in
but
the
I'm
90s.
like more like currently.
the TLC, Aaliyah, which is my biggest inspirations, that died down.
Yeah.
That was no longer okay.
Do you think that there's a big difference now in terms of women getting collections and endorsements and deals in the sneaker game?
Yeah, I think we're now demanding it. You know, they don't really like have a choice. It was definitely harder then, but I think now it's also a thing where it's like they're kind of giving it because we on their necks. It's like, what's up? What we doing? Let's get it. You know what I'm
And
saying?
I think it's
we
harder
gotta
for
continue
companies to
doing
kind
that.
of ignore us now, right? Like we're in this space where whether it's, you know, genuine or not or whatever, brands are like, it's either trendy or it's like Minya was saying earlier, it's like they're trying to bulletproof themselves where you can't ignore us. We have to have collections for
They
women.
have to check
We
the
have
box
to-
to say that, oh, well, we are involved. We're inclusive. We're involving women. Look, we have this campaign and there is a woman in it. You know,
I
we
think
have
they're
this.
also seeing the value of the spending for women.
Right.
Like we buy, we shop.
We spend so much money.
You know, and like I know Nike has a huge push because their women's market went up by like 42%. So they're like, oh damn, like we need to take this seriously. And before it was just kind of like we were just forgotten, but now it's like no, we're standing strong, we're being vocal, and companies are really hearing that and responding to that.
I think another game changer is actually the crossover where men are buying women-designed products. Now, increasingly, you can have a Serena Williams off-white, and there's a lot of men wearing it.
Or even like Aleali's Jordans,
Yeah.
right? Those sold out and you see so many guys wear it.
Because you can't deny good design
Yeah.
at the end of the day. You know, if it's dope, it's dope. Guys are gonna wear it, girls are gonna wear it.
Do you guys
Trash.
think, though, that like even with the opportunities that we do have now, is there pressure to be kind of like a face, right? Because I think there's this perception that all of you guys have been in streetwear for a long time, but if you ask, I think maybe some of the younger generation, who is the woman in streetwear, it's an Instagram model or an Instagram famous person.
Yes.
Yes.
I never wanted to be seen, but I feel like if people don't see you, then they almost don't know it exists. And I think it's really important, especially, you know, being a Black woman behind the scenes in streetwear. I think people need to see us, or they don't know that it's possible to have your own brand and be a Black woman or a woman. And it's opened up to where we can show ourselves, and we don't have to wait for a big brand or company to acknowledge our power.
For me, for a long time, I fought trying not to show who I was, because I wanted my work to speak for itself, especially being a woman in the industry. Like, I always had people wonder if I was really the one behind the graphics, behind the work, because guys appealed to it. They're like, there's no way a girl could have done that.
Wow.
So for a long time, I just wanted the work to speak for itself. And then eventually, I was like, eventually more women were getting into the industry, and it became more of like a pact and like a crew. And so I felt more comfortable like coming forward and being like, yeah, you know, like I'm really proud of the work that I'm doing, and I'm proud that like there's other women in the industry that are coming to the forefront. But even more so now is like the more pressure there is to like promote yourself.
Yeah,
I'm not
what is the
comfortable.
pressure? Because like, you know, even for you, Beth, like, you know, how did you get to that comfort level? Photograph,
Like-
presenting yourself, naming.
I mean, I'm still not there yet, but
okay.
I do think that I think it's important. Like, even, you know, for my brand, Beffy, which is really new, I wanted to work with a lot of, you know, women graphic designers, and just like I wanted to have like a women's team, and it was really hard to find, a graphic designer or someone that makes shirts, but I managed to find them. And I mean, and I get it. A lot of women don't want to have to be like, yes, I'm a graphic designer and I'm a woman, because you just want to, you know, you want to get the job based on your merit and not because you're a woman. But now I feel like it's really important.
Kristen, for you specifically, I know that so many brands have come to you because they want to basically live off of your image. Like, they want a piece of that energy. How did you, like, what were some lessons, tough lessons, or like, you know, good or bad, that you learned in the process of working with all of these brands?
You know, I'm from a small town, and I just was very naive, and I just had to learn, like, not everyone has your best interest, and, you know, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And also had to learn, like, oh, majority of people were just trying to get to me to get to, like, my husband or his people or other people that I knew. And, like, one thing to what the other girls were saying is, like, it just, like, really sucks, because when you're a woman doing things, it's like, you know, everyone knows Dawn, everyone knows Chris, you know, and it's like, but it just really sucks that we have to tell everyone what we do.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's
or like when people call you.
With the dudes, you know, like, you do your research, but it's like with us, like, I hate having to tell people, like, I'm also an owner and RSVP, and I also do creative direction for Just Dawn, and I also have kids, and I have a beauty business, and it's like, but y'all know every other detail about the guys, but it's like we're constantly having to prove ourselves, and it's just like, it's lame, and it's like getting tiring. So I'm at a point where if you know, you know.
Period.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fuck with me, you fuck with me.
Right.
Awesome. If you don't,
Give it up for that. Or the surprise. Or
and
the
like,
surprise
yeah,
of
and like
oh, you
Melody's
do
like
this?
been like in this game for so long, like created so many pieces that I've seen like brands knock off, and just like year after year, time after time. And it's just like, man, like, but like real people know Melody, like real people know like Teyana has always done this. It's never been a trend for her.
Right.
You know, like real girls know like about Hell's Bells and like Married to the Mob, and like, you know, like we, you know, so it's kind of like, we have to stop, I think, trying to prove ourselves to people that
Yeah,
don't know.
that's true. Because then it's like when you being yourself, because we have been around like before social media and stuff, it turns into, you look like, what's the name? Or you
No,
trying to
she
be like,
look
and I'll
like
be like, they be like, you look like, or she giving me real this vibe, or like,
Yeah.
it just be like, really?
Be like, all right.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
It's to the point where it's like, I've been doing it for so long, to where it's like, it really, my friends have to remind me like, yo, post a picture.
Do you think it's almost generational, the ability or the aptitude to self-promote?
But we like
For
old
sure.
heads a little
Yeah.
bit. So we like, man,
Like aunties,
I'm like,
you just like,
you get
okay.
dressed, half the time I'm 20, 30 minutes late anyway. I don't have time to
Exactly,
go be
to,
having
like,
a full-on
pose for
Instagram
pictures.
photo
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah.
But these young
for
girls,
sure.
like no shade, but the young girls, they do it. And
Yeah,
like I
they
respect it
do.
because it's like a full-time
It's a
job.
job.
Some girls would get dressed 3 times a day to get 3 different
Yeah.
outfits and then say, this is for
the
today,
picture.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
for
And,
Thursday.
and it's like,
You
y'all
know,
not
And they're
even
planning out their
wearing that in
content.
real
Yeah.
life.
That's
Y'all
very
not
true.
even wearing that in real life.
Right.
But they
You know what I'm
they
saying?
getting hella glowed up though. Like
Right,
they get
right,
all
right.
the praise and it just be like, okay.
But it's like, wear your
I want my
outfit, take
shit.
pics in your outfit, but like don't front like it's like you actually, you know what I mean? I think that's the thing with us. Like I said, we're old heads. We've been doing it for so long. Tumblr, even before
Yeah.
all that, you know,
Tumblr.
Mademoiselle KD, I don't know if you might know, but you know, it's like we have to evolve as well.
If you naturally just got that style in you, you're not thinking about like, okay, when I wake up, I'm gonna get dressed and take a picture. It's just, if you get a picture, if you get
Yeah.
a cool picture, I've had some fits where I'm like, yo, this shit, nigga, get a picture, nigga. This shit crazy. You know what I'm saying?
It's
But
never
I've
on
never
purpose.
gotten
The
dressed to
best
take a
look.
picture. I don't. Like, it's
Yeah.
been
Like you
some
plan
good
it out, yeah.
fits that I actually planned out that I never get pictures in because that's just not what's on my mind.
Right?
Yeah.
In that vein, like, has social media kind of ruined it?
One of the troubles with social media is that it's because you receive so much information so fast that you don't get to cherish things as much. It's also created this thing where it's like a
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
It's created this phenomena where everything's become a prototype. Sometimes I sit out on Fairfax and everybody looks exactly the same. They're wearing the same thing. Everybody's got the same. And it's like when I was growing up, we made shit. We custom stuff. Like the whole point was to be different. There's so much plastic surgery and so much like beauty things where I'll look at Instagram like on the popular page and all the girls look the same. And it breaks my heart. Like, whatever your quirky, weird, whatever look is, like that's the thing that makes you attractive. Like,
Right.
it doesn't matter if you
But I
can't
also feel
afford
like that's
those
where our
Jordans.
men have to do a little bit better too. Because then like when the men
They
are
have
like,
a certain type.
yeah, or when they break up with their like day one and they move on, everybody's move on, everybody's like rebound, all looks like
Yeah,
cousins.
but you know why? Because we're in that era where a guy knows exactly what to do with that girl. That
with the
girl wants
cousin.
to go to Vegas. She wants the Gucci bag. It's a prototype.
It takes a very secure man
Yes.
to be with a woman like us.
Women want to say they want streetwear for women, right? But I think to play devil's advocate here, it's like women don't support women's streetwear brands the way that they should, right? It's like, you know, I'll go by Soho and Lafayette Street and so many women line up for Supreme. But nobody buys Beffy, or they won't buy Hell's Belge, or they won't buy Made Me, or, you know, whatever it is. And I mean, and I want to kind of open this up to you guys too. It's like, I actually genuinely want to know, like, what, like, is men's streetwear more valuable than women's streetwear? Because I think there is a, I'm like, so many people are answering.
You just see more.
Society that's dictating?
No, the sizes and
Oh, the
stuff.
sizing.
The sizes?
Like they get the best colorways and stuff, and then be like, well, the smallest size is a 7, and it's like, bro, I'm a 5.5. Like, what's going
Well,
on?
I think there's been conversations about women in streetwear before, and I've heard so many women say, I don't know any good women's streetwear brands. I don't buy women's streetwear brands. I buy Supreme if it's not Supreme. Like a lot of,
Well, the girls that
Well,
are
she-
like that are not in the culture.
Right.
You know,
Well,
they're
what
the
are
girls.
the women-designed streetwear brands? Coming from my specific world, resale, is there a women's brand that will get the same resale value as a men's
Well,
brand?
I also think it's exposure. Like this woman over here said it. I don't think
don't
it's
see it.
harder to
You don't see
promote.
it.
Yeah.
I can't even think of a women's streetwear besides the women that I'm sitting on the panel with right now. I can't even think of one.
But you gotta also keep in mind that these two are the only two that's really, and Melanie
Right.
is the only two that's not giving us a whole bunch of girl colorways too.
No,
so
but
at
I know
some
there's
point,
a lot
certain
out
women
there, but
gotta
the
take
fact that I can't
responsibility
even think
too.
of one
Well,
is
and
they
I think
become
it's
more like
hard.
pink and purple
I
shit.
mean, I definitely think, first of all, women are catered to. Like, there's so many women's. I mean, streetwear was kind of created because there was not a lot of
There was no options.
options for men, you know? And high fashion wasn't considered super masculine. I mean, it's changed now. And I think a lot of men started looking towards streetwear because it was very lifestyle, which is also, you know, I mean, you could break up the genders however you want, but I do think that a lot of women's streetwear brands, like, maybe it's just not as clear who it is, what we stand for, you know? I think a lot of men, I know from our store, Union, people that shop in the store, like even the smaller brands, it will be like, you know, like stranger, like whatever the brand is, there's definitely something that people are drawn to, and it feels like a community, you know? And whether you're a skater, you're into surf, you're into hip hop, you're into whatever it is. I just think for women's streetwear brands, maybe we need to be more of a community.
And
Which I think Melody's
stop
doing
trying to
really
be in the
good
men's
job.
community.
Which is what Melody has
But I will say,
done
I
really
think
well with.
that's what I'm trying to do. But I think that it's really discouraging because I think because of fast fashion and what's happened with fast fashion, streetwear is trendy now. So it's like every fast fashion company and their moms are creating things at volume with speed, like every week, and marking it at
And they
a
got the
quarter of
coin
the
to do
price.
it.
Can't compete.
But I think we need to know as consumers the power we have
Right.
about, you know, who we decide we want to shop
spend
with.
your money,
Yeah,
right.
where do you want to spend your money? And I know I shop, at this point in my life, I like to support, you know, brands that, I believe in what they're doing.
You know,
I think that's really
I agree.
important.
I think women brands are also, women consumers are also not as brand loyal as men.
They're not
And
brand
that's-
loyal
And
at
that's
all.
why.
it's a privilege to be more informed as a consumer. So that's something that you grow into, and also you have to have enough money to diversify where you shop.
Yeah.
You know, how do you guys shop now? How do you choose to use your dollars?
I choose to use my dollars for when I absolutely need it. If everything's closed, I will take my ass to Walmart and get me a pair of sweatpants.
Right.
And I'm so serious. I like white beaters, a little long johns with some little basketball shorts over it. It's just about how you swag it.
I thrift shop all the time because for me, same thing. It's all about how you put it together as opposed to what the label is. And then also, to be honest, as a designer and a person that sells clothing, I do feel guilty a lot of the times of being a part of the reason why there's just like so much influx of just like
Stuff.
Totally. I mean, like I said, I definitely like to support brands that I believe in, and I don't necessarily think you have to have a lot of money to do that. And I like to support, you know, my friends. I like to see and know that there are new brands coming up. You know, I think that's really awesome. I think it's about us taking ownership and not relying so much on big business, on
supporting one
government
another.
to support us. We support each other. We're like, yeah, that's dope.
I like to buy vintage because it got to a point where everyone was dressing the same, and
same.
every company and every brand was putting out the same stuff, and I just got like so over it. So I went back to vintage.
It's bleaking
Out of
saying
time.
that we're
I
out of time.
We're out of time.
It's like
We're out of
now
time.
it's like
Y'all
okay,
don't
bitch.
have to wrap it up, so
Told
we're out
y'all.
of time.
Well, thank you guys so
Yeah,
much for
thank you
coming.
guys.
Thank you everyone for coming.